Namaste. My name is Anagha. I am coming from Thrissur, Irinyalakuda, and I am born and brought up in a Brahmin family, and in my home, I'm born. I'm born and brought up in a Brahmin family. I have my father, mother, and two sisters in my home, and I'm a physiotherapist, and now a full-time worker of Arsha Vidya Samajam. Yesterday, that is on May 5th, I watched the film, the Kerala story, and I think that it is a story. The story of that film is closely related to my life because before coming to Arsha Vidya Samajam, that is on 2020, before that, I was practicing Islam and I was in the verge of conversion. At that time, I was brought to Arsha Vidya Samajam. So, I have to share with you about my conversion story, how it happened, and all. I must say that the ignorance about my dharma and our nation's real history and unawareness of current affairs led me to the Islamic study. During my college days, that is, I went to college to Ernakulam. So there I stayed in a hostel. So as showing in that film, that is how a hostel room and how roommates can influence you. That is the same happened in my life also, because during the casual conversations in this hostel room, my Muslim friends, they asked many questions about the customs and rituals that I was following at that time. They asked so many questions on my religion and all, but as I was not getting any proper guidance on dharmic study, I couldn't answer any of them and I kept silent. So I asked these questions to my parents to clarify my doubt, and they also don't give me any satisfying or convincing answers. They said that just our forefathers are forefathers were doing that, we are also following, that's all. So I was not convinced with their answers, and I started to search in social medias about the questions that were I have to face at that time. But from social medias also, I uh, couldn't get any convincing answers. So I felt like I failed, or I felt like there is nothing valid in Hinduism. At this time, I started asking doubts, or I asked questions on Islam, and my friends who were getting Islamic education since childhood onwards, they were able to answer all my questions, and they would ask questions about Hinduism, and they started criticizing it, and but I couldn't answer any of them. I just heard it and kept silent. And as gradually I thought that there is something special about Islam, because all these guys are saying the same thing, and they are clarifying about their Islam, their only God, Allah, Prophet, and all. So I thought that it must be right, or they made me think that it is right. And as the main character in the Kerala story, that she is facing so many situations, like she's undergoing so many confusions in while talking with friends. That was that I too faced at that time, and I slowly started to study about Islam from my friends. As they noticed I'm interested in Islam, they gave me the translations of Quran, that is tafsir, and they showed me videos of Imam Akbar, Zakir Naik, and all. And my Islamic studies were going deeply. And as soon as I was convinced with this Islam, they told me about how a woman should dress or how she should behave in front of the society. They told me how I should dress and all, and they always said that a woman should not be exposed before other gents other than her husband. So you should cover all your body, otherwise Allah will put you in hell. And there is a question that in that film that Muslim friend asked the Shalini Unnikrishnan, the character, main character. She is asking whether you have seen any of the hijab weared girl getting raped. That was also that question was also faced by me, because my friends have asked whether you have seen any girls raped who wears that burqa or parda. And they also said that because Allah knows what is perfect, or what suits a woman well, that Allah knows, and Muslims are always protected. They told me like that. And I was told that if otherwise I am not dressing like a Muslim woman or living like a Muslim woman, I will be put into hell. And they explained about the hell punishments, and I was so afraid that time that I want to convert as fast as soon as possible, because I was that much frightened about hell. And my Islamic studies go deeply, and slowly I started to change my way of living. That is, I was praying at that time, since I started praying to Allah only, that I stopped praying in front of puja room. I stopped wearing bindi. I changed my dressing style. My attire was all changed, and I started to believe on Allah only. And I started to tease my parents for doing pujas and all. I did not cooperate with them in any kinds of rituals. After my studies, I went to Kozhikode for my job, and there also I got a positive atmosphere for my Islamic studies, and most of my patients were supportive for my Islamic studies, and they gave me musalla, that is the mat for doing namaz, and that dress for doing namaz and all. And they assured me any services or any help they can do for my conversion, to stay after conversion, or for going abroad. Or even some of them came with marriage proposals. They told that if you want to face the crisis after conversion, you need a company, so it's better to get married. They told like that, and I was not ready at that time. Otherwise, I would have been gone through what that Shalini Unnikrishnan in that character, in that film, the character Shalini Unnikrishnan had gone through. And at the beginning of 2020, that is when the corona was at its peak, I decided to convert legally, because I don't want to expose myself as a Hindu woman in front of my society. At this time, that is at the time of 2020, after my 5 to 6 years of Islamic study, I had become a complete anti-Hindu. I was against Hindu gods, Hindu organizations. Even I was against our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, because it was fed in my brain that Narendra Modi ji is going to make this a Hindu nation, and Muslims can't survive here in peace, and they were told like that only. And by 2020, I decided to legally convert, and I contacted a conversion center there in the Kozhikode, that is the Tarbiyatul Islam Sabha. And they told that as due to corona, no new admissions are being taken, and maybe after lockdown they will be taking new admissions. So I decided to resign my job, and I came to my home. After coming to my home, I told my parents that I'm going to be a Muslim and I'm going to get converted, because I believe only in Islam and only in Allah. And I told you earlier that we were from a practicing Brahmin family. My father was doing puja on daily basis and all, and they couldn't even tolerate what I told. They were totally broken, and they started crying all those days. Even if I think about those days, I can't even imagine those days, because that was the worst days of my life. My parents was always crying in front of me. They won't eat, they won't drink. Yeah, all time they were crying, saying that please don't go. If you go, we will commit suicide. They were saying like that, and it is in that time I was replying like, already you are kafirs and you are going to hell anyway. So if what you die, or you die naturally, or you commit suicide, that nothing bothers me unless you accept Islam. That is how I replied to them, because it is told in the Quran that unless your parents are not Muslims, you don't have to obey them, or you don't have to accept them as parents. So it was fed, this ideology was fed in my brain, and I was totally against them. I hated them the most at that time. And slowly my parents were getting down, and my home actually was at the verge of suicide. At that time, I was going to a nearby clinic, a physiotherapy clinic for work, and there some of the RSS activists came to see me, and they thought that why I have a Muslim attire and a Hindu name. They got some spelling mistake. They understood there is some spelling mistake, and they searched about me and came to know that I am going to convert. So these RSS activists connected my parents with an organization, Arsha Vidya Samajam, and my brother came to me and said, even if they had no answers to my questions, there is a place where I can get all answers to my all questions. So whether I am ready or not to come to that place, they asked me like that, and I told that okay, I am ready to come anywhere, but after leaving that place, either I will be a complete Muslim or either a complete Hindu. I can't live in between that. They agreed, and I left home and came to Arsha Vidya Samajam in 2020. That is at the time of August. And here I met Acharya Sri Manojji, and I started debating about what I was studying about the past, for the past 6 years. And the speciality of that debate was what I was thinking authentic, or what I was following for the past 6 years. The debate was with that source itself. The debate was with the Quran and Hadith that I followed for the past 6 years. And Acharyaji told me that using the intellect and logic given by Ishwar, just think that whether this is right or not. Is this the behavior, or is this the feature, or is this the concept of God? Is that what God says, or like that? And I was continuously debating with him with each points I had, but at last, after 3.5 hours, Acharyaji proved me that Islam is completely wrong. The ideology I was carrying for the past 6 years, Acharyaji proved it to be wrong within just 3 hours. It is through the course Adhyatmika Shastra that is organized by Arsha Vidya Samajam, I could come back to the Sanatana Dharma, and now I am a full-time worker of Arsha Vidya Samajam, because I thought that what my family had gone through at that time, no family should go through this situation. No person should go through this situation, so that I have to do something to this society, and I decided that, and I became the full-time worker of Arsha Vidya Samajam. Now I have been for 3 years here, and I'm very happy that I never ended because of this organization and Acharya. I never entered as a Nimisha, or that is Fatima, or Sonia Sebastian, that is Aisha, or Marin or Mariam, that is who went to ISIS, and who were ready to explode themselves to kill thousands of people. I'm fortunate, I'm thankful to Arsha Vidya Samajam and Acharya that they saved my life.